Select the cube and delete it with X. Add Mesh UV Sphere. Change the number of segments from 32 to 16 and rings from 16 to 8. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Turn on the proportional editing. Select the vertex and move it with G plus Y. Select those vertices and delete them with X. Turn off the proportional editing. Select vertices as shown and move them with G plus Y. Switch to Object mode with Tab. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Add Modifier, Generate, Subdivision Surface. Change Levels Viewport to 2. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Select vertices as shown and move them with G plus Y. Select vertices as shown. Scale it down with S plus Z. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and move edges as shown. Keep selecting edges, moving them and scaling until you are satisfied with how your Flytrap head looks. Add Modifier, Generate, Solidify. Move it before the subdivision surface. Change thickness in Solidify as you like. Apply Solidify modifier. Choose this part and extrude it along normals with Alt plus E. Do the same with this part as well. If necessary, scale it a bit with S plus X. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Turn on X-ray mode with Alt plus Z. Select this part and move it a bit up with G plus Z. Turn off X-ray mode with Alt plus Z. Keep selecting edges, moving them and scaling until you are satisfied with how your Flytrap head looks. Switch to Object mode with Tab. Add Mesh, Cube. Move it to the right with G plus Y. Add Modifier, Generate, Subdivision Surface. Change Levels Viewport to 2. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and move the face with G plus Y. Extrude it with E. Scale it down with S plus Z. Scale it with S plus Y. Choose this face and scale it with S plus Y. Select all with A and move it to the left inside the mouth with G plus Y. Scale it with S and move it with G plus Y. Scale it and move it until you are satisfied with the position and look of the Flytrap tongue. Extrude it with E. Move it with G plus Y. Extrude it with E once again. Scale it with S. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and scale this with S if necessary. Scale this with S plus X as well if you think is necessary. Switch to selecting faces with 3 and choose this face. Rotate it with R a bit and move with G. Extrude it with T. Scale it with S. Rotate and move until you are satisfied. Switch to Object mode with Tab. Select tongue and head and move them up with G plus Z. Add Mesh, Cube. Move it to the right with G plus Y. Add Modifier, Generate, Mirror. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Select all with I and move it with G plus X. Move it with G plus Y. Move it up with G plus Z. Move it to the right with G plus X. Add Modifier, Generate, Subdivision Surface. Change Levels, Viewport to 2. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Select the bottom face and move it down with G plus Z. Extrude it with E plus Z. Scale it with S. Switch to selecting edges with 2 and scale this with S. Move it to the right with G plus X. Select all with A and scale it with S plus X. Add a new loop with Ctrl plus R and move it up. Select all with A, move it with G and scale with S. Move it with G until you position the tooth inside the Flytrap's mouth. Duplicate it with Shift plus D. Duplicate it with Shift plus D once more and this time scale it with S. Duplicate it again and move with G and rotate with R plus Z if necessary. Duplicate it with Shift plus D once more and this time scale it with S. Move, rotate and scale it once again if you think this is necessary. Select tooth with L to select linked and duplicate it with Shift plus D. Move it along the X-axis. Rotate it with R plus X and R plus Z. Move it back with G plus X. Move it with G until you position the tooth inside the Flytrap's mouth. Scale it with S, move it with G and rotate it with R until you are satisfied. Duplicate it 3 more times with Shift plus D and adjust them as you like. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Select the light and camera and delete them with X. Add Mesh, Plane. Add Modifier, Generate, Subdivision Surface. Change Levels Viewport to 3. Add Modifier, Generate, Solidify. Move it before the subdivision surface. Change thickness in Solidify as you like. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab. Select this edge and extrude it with E plus Y. Scale it with S. Choose this and move it with G plus Y and scale it with S. Add a new loop with Ctrl plus R. Switch to Selecting Vertex with 1, select this vertex and move it with G plus Y. Select those vertices and scale them with S plus X. Select all with A and scale with S plus X. Add 2 loops with Ctrl plus R. Switch to Selecting Edges with 2 and move this part down with G plus Z. Select those parts and move them down with G plus Z as well. Switch to Selecting Vertices with 1 and move this part with G plus Y. And scale this with S if necessary. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Adjust thickness in Solidify if you think is needed. Select and rotate the leaf with R plus X for 90 degrees. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab. Select this and move with G plus Y to the left. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Move it up with G. Rotate it with R. Duplicate it with Shift plus D, rotate it with R and move it with G. Duplicate it with Shift plus D again, rotate it with R and move it with G. If necessary, adjust it a bit more with S, G and R. Add Mesh, Cylinder. Change the number of vertices from 32 to 24. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Auto Smooth. Move it up for 1 with G plus Z plus 1. Go to Object, Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab. Switch to Selecting Faces with 3. Select the top face and scale it with S. Move it with G plus Z. Extrude it with T. Choose this and extrude it along normals with Alt plus E. Choose this face and extrude it down with E plus Z. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Adjust the size of the pot with S. Add Modifier, Generate, Bevel. Change segments to 4. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab. Switch to Selecting Faces with 3. Select this bottom face and insert the new face with I. Add 2 loops with Ctrl plus R. Switch to Object Mode with Tab. Add Curve, Bezier. Move it up with G plus Z. Rotate it with R plus Y plus 90 for 90 degrees. Go to Data, Bevel and change depth to somewhere around 0.17. Switch to Edit Mode with Tab. Move this upper part of the curve with G. Extrude it with E. Rotate it with R, move it with G, scale it a bit with S, and move it again with G. Choose the middle part of the curve. Move it with G and rotate it with R. Scale it with S. Select the last part of the curve and move it down with G plus Z. Adjust the middle part of the curve if necessary with G and S. Switch to object mode with Tab. Choose one leaf and duplicate it with Shift plus D. Rotate it with R and scale it with S. Move it with G and scale again with S if necessary. Duplicate it again with Shift plus D and rotate it with R plus Z and then again with R. Move it with G. Duplicate it again with Shift plus D and adjust it as you did previously. Repeat this as many times as you want until you are happy with the number of leaves on your plant. Until now, we have been in solid mode. Now we will switch to the render mode so we can add lights and materials and see how our Flytrap looks with proper lighting. Now go to Render Properties and switch from Render Engine Eevee to Cycles. Also, if you have a good graphics card, you can switch from CPU to GPU. Turn on the viewport denoise to get rid of the noise and make things easier for the eyes. Add light, area. Move it above the Flytrap with G plus Z. Scale it with S. Select the light and go to Object Data Properties. Switch power from 10 to 500. Move the light along the axis if necessary. Switch to the top view with 7. Duplicate the light with Shift plus D and move it with G. Click on this little yellow circle on light and move it with left mouse button to point it at the Flytrap. Adjust it until you are satisfied. Duplicate the light with Shift plus D and do the same steps as you did previously. You can also adjust both lights at once if you select them both, so play around with it. Select the head of the Flytrap. Click on the material, click New. Place the cursor on the upper side of the screen as shown, and when you see plus, just pull it down to the left while holding the left mouse click. Open the shader editor in the window you just created. Change the base color to red. Decrease roughness a bit. Add one more material by clicking on plus and clicking New. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Turn off the subdivision in the viewport so you can better see a part that you need to select. Select the mouth part, click on Materials and assign it to the second material that you already created. Switch to Object mode with Tab. Adjust the roughness and color of the head if it's necessary. Switch to Edit mode with Tab. Turn on the subdivision in the viewport. Switch to Object mode with Tab. Select the tongue. Go to the material and add a new material by clicking on plus and clicking New. Adjust the color and roughness of the tongue as you want. Expand the subsurface part and add weight. Choose teeth and change the base color to whatever color you want for teeth. You can also decrease roughness to 0. Choose leaf. Go to the material and add new material by clicking on plus and clicking New. Change the base color to green and increase the weight in the subsurface a bit. Decrease roughness. Select another leaf and the rest of the plant that you want to be green. Lastly, select again the leaf that is already green and go to Object, Link Transfer Data, Link Materials. Change the value of a green color if needed. Select pot, go to the material and add new material by clicking on plus and clicking new. Click on the plus once again to add one more material and click new. Choose the first material that you just created for the pot. Change color to brown and increase roughness. Switch to edit mode with tab. Select this face that is supposed to be the dirt and assign it to the second material that you made. Change the base color to something dark brown. Add camera. Click on the camera icon. Go to view and turn on the camera to view. Now you can adjust the view far or close by scrolling up or down the mouse wheel and rotating the view while pressing the mouse wheel and moving the mouse left or right. You can change the resolution if you want. If you want to move the whole camera, hold Shift and press the mouse wheel while moving the mouse up or down. Turn off camera to view. Add mesh, plane. Scale it with S. Switch to edit mode. Extrude this edge with E plus Z. Select this edge and bevel it with Ctrl plus B. Click the right mouse button and choose Shade Smooth. Add new material for a plane and change it to the color that you like. When you are satisfied with it, click Render and render the image. That is it. Now you know how to model and texture a Flytrap in Blender. If you enjoyed learning Blender with me, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Bye! See you next time!